Media Machkanga, and we're going to talk about interviews, questions, and answers that you need to respond when you have a safeguarding officer position. So first and foremost, they want to know what does safeguarding mean to you? Like, what is safeguarding? So how you respond to this one is that you highlight that safeguarding means protecting people. Right, you are trying to protect people. So when we say people, we're talking about the staff and the community, the partners, or anyone that is working in your organization. So in these people, especially those who are vulnerable, when we're talking about the vulnerable, we're talking about persons with disabilities, the women, or anyone that is described as vulnerable. For example, even the refugees. What are you protecting them from? From harm, abuse, neglect, or exploitation within the organization. So safeguarding is about creating a very safe environment, ensuring that everyone is treated with dignity and respect, and having clear procedures for prevention and responding to any kind of concerns that come your way. Yeah. The second question is that, can you describe your experience in handling safeguarding concerns? So this question, they want to know if you have encountered in any safeguarding concerns and how exactly do you respond. It might also come in a way whereby they're saying that they want to know if maybe they give you a scenario and they want to know how exactly would you respond in this kind of scenario. So what you need to know here is you want to demonstrate the kind of experience that you have, and then you need to highlight discretion. Confidentiality is key. Then also just highlight what corrective measures that you also put in place. So in this question, you need to highlight the context, describe the setting, like where was this? Is it in an NGO or something? Where was this setting? Then also who was involved in the case? Then also what type of safeguarding concern is it? Was it a sexual abuse? Was it an exploitation? You need to define it by the correct term. Okay, then the next thing that you need to do is you identification of consent. Like, how did you get to know about this statement? Was it the survivor who came to you and talked to you, or maybe it's someone else through a third party or anything? You need to highlight how did you know the consent, and what were your immediate actions that you do. Like, did you do the risk assessment? Did you do the survivor-centered approach whereby you try to make sure that the survivor is safe before you do anything? Then how did you report and escalate the situation further? Then what sanctions, and then case management and follow-up. Who was involved in case management? How did you ensure that there was confidentiality during this case management? Then how did you follow up on the case? Who did you talk to? Who were the witnesses? What evidence did you manage to gather? Then what sanctions did you put in? Did you recommend? So for sanctions, usually you recommend. Then the decision-making authority is the one that actually tells you what happens next. Then how did you document the case for future reference? Then what did you learn, and what did you do to prevent any kind of case like this from happening again? This is where you talk about maybe trainings, awarenesses. Those are some of the things that you put in place. Then how do you ensure that staff and partners are aware of the safeguarding policy? There is a situation whereby you have a safeguarding policy in place and no one knows about it. How do you make sure that everyone is aware of the safeguarding policy that you have as your organization? You need to create clear and accessible policy documents. Like your policy documents should be clear and precise, and they should be accessible to everyone. Then provide any regular training for the policies so that your staff members get to understand what is it that you're talking about in the policy. Some organizations have a video policy. Some organizations actually require a face-to-face training so that they can be able to explain all the aspects of the policy. Then after that, you do risk assessment and including context analysis, so that you try to make sure that you adapt the policy to the particular setting that you're working with. Then you do induction sessions which include safeguarding content, so that they understand the policy. Then you conduct refresher sessions, like maybe after a year or after 2 years, you can do refresher training for everyone. Then you display safeguarding information in public areas. It's always important for you to have posters, anything that you can do so that there is information about the policy everywhere. Then run anonymous feedback tools to test understanding of the policy. Like you can even do a feedback platform whereby people can provide feedback on what exactly they understand about the policy. Then you learn and adapt as you go. What challenges do you anticipate in this role, and how would you handle them? So this is a question that comes. So some challenges may include underreporting due to fear or stigma, lack of training in remote areas, then resistance from leadership. So how you would handle them, then you find creative ways of handling them. Like for example, you need to create trust between people through continuous training, continuous assessments, and all that. Then make sure that you have friendly and accessible and inclusive reporting channels. Then try to make sure that you train your leadership and involve them in every step that you take, so that they can always work with you and understand everything, and resistance will be low. So the other question that I thought we could put is, how would you design a community-based safeguarding reporting mechanisms in a low literacy and high risk environment? Like most of safeguarding people are put in areas where there is low literacy and there is high risk environment. How do you make sure that you put a safeguarding reporting mechanism that is accessible and safe and trusted? So you need to understand the local context and barriers. So safeguarding usually do not come with a bag of tricks in a particular context. You need to make sure that you understand the context that you are in. All contexts are different, so you need to understand what is the context here, and what are the barriers that people are facing in reporting any safeguarding concerns. Then you need to be creative and practical in designing your inclusive system. So some of the things that you can do is, for example, you can have an in-person direct safeguarding focal point person and community volunteers who can help as people of reporting, and these ones have to have a gender balance. Then you need to have audio-based tools, like for example a toll-free line, a voice message platform with local dialects, because people want to report in their local language. They do not want to think, how am I going to talk to in English or Spanish, which is a language that I do not understand maybe. So they want their own local language to report. Then you need to have visual color-coded suggestion boxes with symbols instead of written words. For example, there is a red box for urgent issues, the green box for something else, so that people can report that way. Then you can have mobile-based reporting. For example, for communities with phone access, you can use WhatsApp voice notes or simple SMS keywords. Yeah. Then also child-friendly methods, like for example story cards, safe spaces, peer-to-peer. That is so some of the things that you need to understand is that the most important thing is that there is need for confidentiality and safety, and you need to ensure that there is community ownership and trust within these reporting channels. Then try to test them, you monitor, and you adapt as you go. So the last slide I have for you today is, how do you approach safeguarding in a context with strong cultural norms that conflict with your organizational safeguarding standards, right? You have there are contexts whereby there are some strong cultural norms that might conflict with your own safeguarding standards that you have as an organization. How do you try to make sure that you embed safeguarding? So the most important thing is that you need to be sensitive to the local culture. Whenever you are doing something, there is always for us to respect the local culture whilst we're trying to embed our safeguarding. We have some local laws that we need to abide by, but at the same time, you need to stand your ground and other things, like, for example, your safeguarding standards should be strong, but you still need to be respectful. You need to be strong, have strong safeguarding standards on your own, then you still need to be very respectful to the local culture and try to use diplomacy in community engagements, which is why it's important for you to start with the community leaders, then you go to everyone else in the community, and also have community focal point persons, community liaisons that you have, and try to also use platforms like women and girls spaces so that you can try to uphold some your organization of safeguarding standards and whilst being culturally sensitive. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe and click the bell button for next time. Thank you.